Hey, what's going on, everyone? Astrologer Eric Rosen here, coming at you with Celestial Conversations. This is the weekly astrology horoscope where I take a look at the bigger transits of the astrology to help you prepare for the week ahead. This is going to be from today as I'm recording, actually going live on Facebook, from what is today? It's the 19th of June until the 25th of next week. I'm a day late this week. Usually I do these on Wednesdays, getting this in on Thursday this week. Super big week. One of the biggest weeks that we've had in a while, and we've been having a lot of those. Excited to get into this, break it down for you. But as always, if you want to book a personal astrology reading, just hit me up, send me a message, drop a comment. I'll send you a booking link. I will be doing a special. I'm planning on doing a special for Uranus coming into Gemini, because that means all the other outer planets, at least temporarily, before they retrograde back to their old signs, are going to be in their new sign that they're going to be in for the next at least several years. And so this is a big transpersonal shift for humanity that we're stepping into. And I know we're in it already and you can feel it, but I'm going to be breaking that down at a much deeper level through the lens of this crazy future we're going into societally, and what that means for you individually, and probably through the sun rising sign aspect of it. So stay tuned for that announcement. And then also too, for those that actually are looking to get unstuck during this time, it's like you've been through the pattern, you've been through the rut long enough, you're ready to create the thing. Of course, you can book a reading, but also just know that I do offer 3 to 6 month coaching, healing containers where I bring that shamanic wisdom, I bring the cosmic quantum insight, I bring all the tools, all the bells and whistles to help you get to a place in your power of where you're actually meant to go on a more destined path, at least something that you want to manifest that's better than where you're at now. So let's talk about this week, shall we? It's kind of crazy because, we've got the summer solstice this week on the 20th. We have a new moon also in Cancer right after it, which I think is gravy train. I think that's great that we're getting a new moon so close to the solstice. But what's crazy is that the biggest part of this is actually the sun and Jupiter meeting in Cancer. Like, hallelujah. Like, typically we get a once in a year sun Jupiter conjunction where they come together, but we didn't get it last year in Gemini, and so we kind of got screwed a little bit. And then this year it's a little weird though too, because the overshadowing of the shadow of sun Jupiter is the fact that it's in a YOD, a finger of God. So this rare geometric aspect, it's dancing with Pluto and it's dancing with Mars that's now in Virgo with that south node. And so, when you start to break this down, it's like the sun Jupiter piece alone is great, right? Sun, Cancer, yay, feel good. Get the feel good vibes. Summer solstice, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Let's initiate with what feels good. For some people it's like connect with family. For some people it's like, let me reflect more on my personal life of what actually makes me feel good. And so Jupiter is this big expander, and it comes in and it's like, hey, I'm going to give you some abundance, maybe some good luck if you believe in that sort of thing. And bring the positivity that both the sun Jupiter bring. That's the reason that it's so coveted, sun Jupiter, when they meet. It's because it's this explosion of positivity. But it's an understanding that we all have free will too. And so sun Jupiter in Cancer is also like, hey, like you have to allow yourself to open up. You have to be vulnerable. Like you have to come out of your shell, come out of your comfort zone in order to receive the gifts that sun Jupiter is bringing. And so a lot of the gifts are relating to what is something that makes sense for our reality, even if we don't like it, because it's Mars in Virgo with the south node that it's not conjunct yet, but this is part of the YOD, and then Pluto in Aquarius. And so it's got to make sense for just where the future is going. It's got to make sense in terms of where you fit in the world. So this can be a really complex dynamic, but the best thing to do with energy like this is to lean into the intuition, lean into some journaling. There's a lot that's going to want to come through. It's a lot of information, right? Because it's the sensory feel and perception of it. That's on Jupiter in Cancer, and it could even be reflecting on the past, understanding family systems, like why you are the way that you are, why you think the way that you do like your belief system, but then it's like all this information, Mars and Virgo, it's all this information that we got to somehow like pull out and resurrect from inside of us with Pluto and Aquarius. And so this could be a resurrection for anyone that feels like they've been slipping, like the gates are opening back up and being like, okay, we had that full moon in Sagittarius and it wanted to expand us, but it's like, this is a good transit to be like, okay, this is going to deal with more of the how, but it's still very spiritual. And the how is going to be subjective to everyone's personal experience, but ultimately like the deeper why is to like get us to more of a feel good place, to get us to more of a secure foundation in the world of like being able to like sit in our home and like reflect on like what's going on in my world, what's going on in the world. Do I feel like I can sit here and research and reflect and understand my own personal life as well as how I connect to the world when I do step out the front door? So that's the deeper why of this. So, of course, the solstice happens right before the sun Jupiter. And, I've been teasing people that people are making like Lionsgate like a bigger deal than like the winter and summer solstice. And, it's kind of this like pop culture thing. And it's like, just remembering like have some form of reverence on the solstice on the 20th. Like, I mean, the fact that it's got Jupiter here, it would be good to like have some type of social gathering, but it's like people that you feel comfortable with, right? It's like where everyone's energy can expand each other, where it can almost be like this unspoken connection, especially because that sun Jupiter is going to be stepping into that YOD. And so it's like that connection, being around people, that Pluto and Aquarius, like people that you trust, that Mars and Virgo being like, okay, like, let me put aside, especially at the South Node, let me put aside my routine or what I think needs to happen of the exact how or details of, what's going to like make me feel better about myself. And so I would highly suggest taking some time to like find something on the solstice, find something even just like throughout this week, like for connection, like having conversations like with people, because part of the thing is like coming out of the comfort zone in order to expand is that vulnerability of sun Jupiter and Cancer. It's like there's a saying like the early bird gets the worm. It's like sun Jupiter would be like the person that's willing to like expand outside their comfort zone gets the worm. So the opposite, sun Jupiter, it's like, well, it can feel pretty overwhelming. Like, oh, what's going on? Like, I can't stay in my comfort zone anymore, right? So it's so like we got Neptune also sextiling Pluto this week, super powerful. So it's so weird to put it this way, but it's like, I think we all just have to remember like we're our own walking brand when we go out into the world. And what I mean by that is that there's a lot of self-starter initiation energy in the zodiac that I've been talking about, where it's like you kind of have to know how to just like pull some strings and make things happen and get some things done, and know how to connect with people, know how to network, like know how to bring your ideas. And so there's this piece of like, if there's something that you're motivated that you want, Neptune and Aries sextile Pluto and Aquarius, it's like that want, that need, that desire. First step is like, does it make sense? Right? Or is there like some weird foggy shadow side that's like not being seen to it? But then it's like getting the clarity, getting the truth, getting the higher octave, right? Like it should be something that's like motivated by, you could say, ascension, right? Just evolving as a person, as a human, being a better human, being more empathetic, compassionate, being of service, and taking that like raw criteria, that raw data, and then going, okay, whatever it is, that thing that ideally would be some spiritual solution that's like offered to people and like helping people, that it's packaged in a way that like it fits you, like it fits your past and where you've been, like it fits like the current circumstances of where you're at now. And so it's like, it's a beautiful transit, but it's also a humbling one. I mean, it's an outer planetary transit too, so some people, it might just, go right past them, especially anyone that's like still plugged hardcore into like media rhetoric with that transit. And I think the other people that are like trying to find the data, trying to find the answers, trying to find like the next step, some of this is just going back to the basics, right? Like what is Neptune in Aries mean? Part of it is spiritual mastery. Go back to the basics of Aries of like, what does it mean to you to be a spiritual being? Because that sextile over to Pluto is saying, hey, keep it simple first. The answers like will come, but like searching for it, like the needle in the haystack type feeling, or trying to create the Einstein light bulb moment and having all the complex algorithms on the board, that's not going to cut it. That would be the partially too the overwhelm of Sun Jupiter in that YOD, where it's like trying to figure out how to expand like through more of a mental state of things instead of like more of an emotional state. There's a lot here about leaning into the emotional capacity of things. And these are transits that are going to point out like who's got emotional constipation, who's emotionally restricted because of a family belief or an upbringing or the past, something that's happened in the past. It's also, the sun's, it's also Neptune still squaring over to Jupiter. So, that's part of it as well, where it's like, hey, like, remember to like look into the past, and understand like that there are some things that we still like carry with us, and it makes it uncomfortable. Like when we keep carrying that load, it's like too much. So, and then that Neptune's also making a quincunx, fated quincunx over to that Mars and Virgo, that South Node. So, what I want to say about that is like, just don't fall into any sand traps. It reminds me of like golf. It's like you put the ball in the sand and then everything's falling apart. It's like, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. And it's like, don't go crazy thinking that you're losing like the worst battle of your life, because it's like the feeling of like, well, it's just one thing after another. First I was stuck in traffic, and then I forgot my part of my lunch, and just stuff like that. We have to kind of like remember, like with that Neptune quincunx Mars, that it's like just like waving bye-bye. It's like all the systems and the way that we thought reality was supposed to work, and relax and like let go and like find some grounding in all of this, right? Like finding some vulnerability like through all of this. And the interesting thing too about the Sun Jupiter, with it being in a YOD to Pluto, it's such a weird thing, because here's the thing. This is gonna blow, like, no other astrologer is probably gonna tell you this, but Sun Jupiter is, I want to have an experience that feels good, that feels safe, that feels secure. But when it's Mars and Virgo with the South Node, it's like, oh, but I want it to be pure. I want it to be so pure. I want it to be like white linen. But it's Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. It's like, there's a freaky nature to it. There is a taboo nature to it. There's a liberation energy to it. So that's what's weird, is that the Sun Jupiter energy is almost like, hey, the way to expand outside your comfort zone is actually like get out of like the prehistoric thinking of like what's perfect and clean and polished, and actually like go for more of the true desire that kind of sets you free. And that's a hard one too, because it's like kind of like stepping outside the comfort zone and then going home and then reassessing at the end of the day after following the true desire, and then going, okay, well, where do the boundaries need to be? It's like needing to go out and experience it first, because the Sun Jupiter is the most powerful part of this YOD, even though that finger of God, this YOD, the sacred geometric aspect in the astrology, is pointing to Pluto. But it's more so like where we need to like bring out the understanding, more of the crazy unconscious understanding of like what motivates us as humans, like what motivates our desires. And so it's almost like we have to unpack that and understand that and like go through that and get out of any like juxtaposed like thinking that like, oh no, like not cool with this, nope, sorry reality, you're failing me. Because that's South Node and Mars and Virgo is always, nope, sorry, this is the wrong harvest, burn it down, depending on, you know, like how strong your Mars is and how you identify with Mars as it's transiting your chart. Because it's like that Virgo is the harvest and that Mars South Node, it's like, no, this isn't what I asked for. And so it's having to be like careful with that thinking and needing to like lean into like more of this like outside the box understanding that the Sun Jupiter expansion is going to come in more unorthodox ways. So the positivity, the benefits of feeling more safe, feeling more secure. This could be, you know, deeper levels of healing. It's like leaning into the stuff, right? It's having the conversations that are fucking messy. Because that Mars, that South Node's like, you know, wants it to be like all clean and polished, and it can't work. You know, that if anything with the YOD, that's just where stuff like gets suppressed and causes like more issues. So, you know, more discomfort, more overwhelm. So it's kind of crazy because it's like, it's Sun Jupiter, but then it factors into this YOD. And so we can't like really get away from that. So mark your calendars. That's on the 24th, but I mean, we'll be feeling the energy build up probably the day after the solstice for sure, I would say, if not sooner. In other news, Uranus, last degree of Taurus, not aspecting anything right now. Still got a little bit more time in Taurus. And so, you know, just remember to ground, right? Like, it's so easy to get like swept up in the chaos of things. And honestly, like the grounding, the rooting piece, it's not going to be a specific technique, especially this week. Like, oh, this is what you do to ground or to root or feel safe. Like, because if you have like a routine or like something that you do, like, oh, I'm going to do this to feel this, or I'm going to do this, and then like this happens, this tool, this routine, this approach, if it's not intuitively led from a place of just like the synchronicities like hitting, it could kind of have like a chasing the tail feeling, you know, like chasing a feeling instead of just like expanding into the feeling. Because honestly, the greatest gift of Sun Jupiter in Cancer, because of the abstract nature of Jupiter, because of the Sun just wants to highlight wherever it's at, which is Cancer, is the emotions. The true gifts under the tree, like, you know, in an economic boom, which we're not really in, but it's like, it is the feeling. It's expanding more into how much energy can you hold, like in the feeling before collapsing, getting scared, getting afraid, wanting to shut down, wanting to like withdraw, wanting to like retreat in the shell, you know, because a lot of people metaphysically, you know, will talk about when it comes to the things that we want, you know, manifestation, that sort of thing. It's like, bring in the feeling. And so here's Sun Jupiter. That's part of the formula in Cancer, is like, sure, have your vision, but you got to feel it. Like, feel it, get secure with it, feel safe with it, like roll around in it. You know, could be a good time for updating a vision board potentially, but it's also kind of crazy too, because with that Mars and Virgo part of the YOD, it's like, it's kind of non-specific about exactly how the vision's supposed to look. It's hidden. Pluto and Aquarius, like a lot of this is like trusting that if we're just doing the things that make sense, even if we're like, this sucks, I don't want to have to do this, like this doesn't like feel the best, that the feeling comes from expanding into whatever is showing up in the experience. And so it's like actually using this transit to do things and change up the reality and shift some things and go in a different direction that can feel a little bit more like, whoa, like how did I get here? Like as a way of like bringing out the emotions. So, good energy for expanding, like for anyone that's like looking to like make changes like on the family front, the home front. But ultimately what this really comes down to when I look at these transits overall is, it's our safety. It's our personal safety. Like we do need to start with that, but it's not starting with it from the mind, because the mind will just keep pulling up stuff over and over again of like, here's why we're not safe. Remember this fact that's not actually true, or there's this thing, or here's this trauma, or this, that, or the other thing. And so there's an evolution to like what the safety looks like, which is like, I'm safe to feel. I'm safe to reflect. It's safe to slow down and like get a deeper understanding of like the rhythms of life and like where things are going, instead of like trying to predict it so much. And I think that's what is the struggle like right now with people on the mental level. Me, other people, like if you're experiencing like head pressure and like solar plexus like fluctuations like right now, just know that some of that's normal. Some of it's just honestly the horse shit frequencies that are still just in the background trying to confuse us, just signals from the dark, unfortunately. And then some of it too is just like, it's that trying to suppress this natural evolution of our intuitive side coming out more through our solar plexus, and not so much like the thinking brain. Because like the thinking brain, like shaking the magic 8-ball for the intuition, that's like the broken Mars and Virgo South Node system. We have to just kind of go more with this like deeper trust and faith in ourselves with these transits of like a strong solar plexus, of like, I'll figure it out when I get there. My human design strategy authority said this, I followed my intuition through it, it's okay, I'm safe. And like being strong in that, this is about being strong in the uncertainty and seeing that the emotions are going to help us see what's actually like going on too. So like that we don't like trick ourselves, trick, because the trickery of that YOD is like, oh, let me trick it into saying that it's actually okay, that it's all, good. No, there are no messes, or we'll figure it out later, figure it out in the future. Let's just feel good now. And it's like, no, it's like, you gotta face this tough stuff as it's like coming up in the moment. This is about like not suppressing it, because then it actually gets even more confusing, because then the conversation tries to come later, and then like now it's the emotions mixed with like what wasn't being spoken, and then like the new emotions and the story that gets like built too, because that's the other cautionary thing with Sun, Jupiter, Cancer, is like not like building a story out of the emotions, and more so just letting the emotions like tell the story, like not getting into too much of like a narrative, right? Which I know can be difficult to do, especially in this YOD, but it is possible. And so I think, I don't think this week is so much of a reality check for people. I think we've already been getting that. For the late bloomers, like this is like a big wake up call to go, hey, like, what are you doing? Is it like making sense? Like, do you know how to like show up for yourself, for your personal safety foundation, for those around you that count on you, that sort of thing, your community. And it's really just, it's not about like rushing it. If anything, the rushing part of it kind of goes into more of this like unconscious survival based state with that Neptune sextile Pluto that we don't like need to go into. So like if I were to apply this like to the things that a lot of people are maybe thinking about like right now, whether it's like the business or finance like piece, honestly, these are the transits. It's like, that's not the thing really to overly focus on or worry about. It's more so like get yourself like dialed in and take care of you, take care of your family, take care of your foundation, and like let the rhythms and the intuition like show you like where you're meant to go next, instead of like going, I got to do this career thing, or I got to do this money thing to create safety, or to become the thing, and then I'll feel better, safer, secure about myself and my circumstances. So, you know, it's not that, it's the flip. So it's a lot of faith. It's a lot of deep, and it's personal faith too, Sun and Jupiter, right? Like it's faith that's personal to you. Like the YOD is saying, don't try to make it some belief system that's like fits perfectly with the rest of the world's beliefs. It's got to come from within you. And so the thing that can like clog it, right, is like, well, this is the belief system that came from the ancestors of the family. So like we have to like check that part, you know, make sure that like that's not getting in the way. And you'll know it too if you try to, these transits, like try to like kid yourself and be like, you know, it's okay, it's all good. Like, let's just put on the rose-colored glasses. Like it'll be like an immediate, like feel it in the body, the solar plexus, maybe the head, like just like, nope, gotta pay attention. No rose-colored glasses, like with this transit. Neptune sextile Pluto, nope. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I feel for anyone that's like just trying to hold it together, just hold the reality together right now. Be like, nah, you know, I'll figure it out, or it's good, you know, and like, it's like the soldier that's like, no, it's okay, like I'll fix the garden, the storm blew through, but it's like, hey, like, well, the storm's blowing through every night, and it's like spending most of the time like recovering. And so it's like having to like really acknowledge that, to just acknowledge these components of it. So I would pay attention this week to how you feel. That's number one. The best way that I would use the Sun Jupiter, besides the feeling part of it, the emotional part of it, is just, it's just the basics of self-care. Honestly, it's probably the stuff that we think that we don't have time for. We're too busy. There's too many other possibilities or things we could be doing. So it could bring up like an unconscious state of FOMO. And it's like the self-care is actually going to help us root and feel safer, to actually get deeper into the emotional truth and understanding of what actually is being changed more on a spiritual level, that like we don't need to like worry about or figure out. Think about it like this: Uranus going into Gemini next month. So much astrology that's changing these next few months. It's like, we don't need to worry about anything that's not like showing up as a thing to respond to through our human design, or that our intuition is like showing us. This is the deconditioning astrology that's like, hey, it's too much information when you go searching for it. Like, that's just like the adrenaline rush that creates a false sense of security and positivity. So for those that maybe are more like type A and analytical, this can be hard because can feel like dumber, you know? Like more basic, like just living life like one moment at a time and just like responding to one emotional or intuitive hit at a time. But like, that's the thing. It's better than using like the crazy mapping and be like, okay, I've got it, and this is the master plan. And it's like, well, that's not going to work though. Like that's like the fool's errand. That's like the end game piece of the fabric of reality that's going to start getting rewritten more and more and more. And so like, it's subtle. It's a subtle sense, and it can produce fear, worry, anxiety at first, of like, oh, like something's changing big time. And it's the way that we've woven our reality. And so part of the way to deal with that fear, that anxiety, is to actually step back and go into the emotional realm and like survey things more, And also check some boxes. Am I safe? Am I secure? You know, do things feel abundant? Yes, cool. Okay, well then I'm safe to take the next step forward that feels like the intuitive thing, because that's like the umbrella when the storms hit and the chaos hits. So it's really an ode to all the things that get said metaphysically, like that the mind is not really us, right? There's something behind it, or, you know, the mind is the ego, like all these different things. So this is getting comfortable with that shift, or at least like integrating more of that shift depending on like what level that you're at, because a lot of this transit does bring up everyone's mind works differently. Everyone's got a past, an experience, you know, like how it's affected their perception of reality, their central nervous system. And so it's actually embracing more of that, like through the emotion of how we see the reality. But then also it's like the graduation too of like the healing of going, well, I'm not going to let the past fears and phobias and the programming and the old reality that was woven like predict this new one. And so this is very much an in-between state, especially like Saturn and Aries, of like, okay, I don't know exactly where it's going, but like I still got to like do something. And so this is how we do it. This is how we do it. So, and you know, my last thing, you know, just real quick, because it is Uranus at last degree of Taurus, and Venus not really aspecting anything, at least until the end of the week with the nodes. And even that's still pretty faint. It's like, we still got to take care of the basics that make us like feel good and like our values. This doesn't mean that like we stop like being human, you know, like stop being spiritual beings. Like, even though like, it's like, okay, it's a radical like shifting transition. Like there's adaptation to where we're going and being more emotional and intuitive that we're being asked to do and source energy and knowledge from within. But it doesn't mean that we have to like let go of like the safety of like what keeps us stable. So just remember, like, it's not about this fucking black and white thinking of like the perfect reality or perfect system. It's not going to be that. If anything, it's going to be a little bit more of a feminine piece of like, do I feel good, feel connected, feeling like, you know, I can talk about things and be vulnerable, like about the emotions. That's really where it's at. So appreciate you all. Catch you for Celestial Conversations next week. Yeah, and if you want to book that reading or you just want to do some work in general, it's a pivotal time to do it. Drop a comment, send me a message. All right, I'll see you next time.